Hi, I'm Victoria Oldridge. This is for Thrive Global, and I'm here with Gary Vaynerchuk, CEO of Vayner investor, jack of many, many trades, and host of the wildly popular Ask Gary V show. Thanks for being here today. So your entrepreneurship goes way back to lemonade stands, baseball cards, and it turns out you're going to be in 2047 the owner of the Jets.
That's the plan.
Is that right? 30
That's
years?
Right.
So you say that it's going to be 30 years due to your behavior.
Yes.
I once heard Tim Ferriss say that someone had told him, what if you were to condense that business plan, that lifetime business plan, into a year?
Yep.
What would that look like for you?
It wouldn't look like anything. It's so funny. I answer every question always. I'm sure they're already laughing. Like, I couldn't even comprehend that. It's just not my wiring. That's like asking me, like, hey Gary, how do you start flying like a human being? It's impossible. I'd have to become a gambler. Right? Like, I'd have to take all my assets and do something crazy. So I'm a marathon runner. Marathon runners don't win sprints, you know? They just don't. They don't have the body shape for it. They don't have the mentality. They don't train like that. It doesn't even feel good when you ask me that. And I genuinely believe that's actually the reverse of most entrepreneurs. I think a lot of fake entrepreneurs want to do this for the watches and the private jets and the champagne bottles and the boats. And
fast fix.
I just don't have it in me.
You know, entrepreneurship is changing a lot. And as you've said before, you know, the TV obviously made the radio antiquated. And now mobile devices are making the TV antiquated. So, you know, how do you see the future of work changing based on the transformation that we're seeing now?
I mean, this is the remote control of our lives. And so I don't think people are very good at letting go of old platforms. They want to hold on to romance. My generation, the way we did it, is one reason. Just hard wiring of human beings. They don't like change. I love it. That's why I've been successful. Then there's financial reasons. You know, if you own a bunch of television stations and a bunch of newspaper, and things of that nature, if you're Fox, you're gonna do anything you can politically and financially to keep the dollars coming into that world, because that's what you should be doing. That's not wrong. You know, humans always suppress innovation. The ones that have the money and the leadership. However, the big three networks tried to stop cable. Cable and the big three networks tried to stop the internet. Like, this innovation always wins. The titans and the moguls always succumb to innovation. And so, I think the world's gonna look completely different. I mean, when our eyes and ears, our attention is in new places, that's where the money goes.
Yeah, follow the market. That's what you
follow
want to say.
The market.
The market never lies.
So I think people's behavior will change. I think people will think mobile first. You know, we have a new website design for VaynerMedia. I'm thinking mobile first, desktop second. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Some of the old business decision makers are going to think best. So I don't, even though I want the world, actually, I notice how I just stopped myself. I don't want the world to be mobile first. I don't want the world to be desktop. I don't want the world to be AI. I don't want anything. No. I just react to what it is. And that's my game. Well,
speaking of AI, I know you're saying that VR is the wave of, you know, the next big wave, which I agree with.
Yes, but, and I want to make sure you capture this, 20 years from now, on the consumer end, I believe in VR. I don't believe in VR the way people believe in VR. Meaning, when I see that Samsung commercial during the Oscars, right? Because I made a point to watch some of the commercials during the Oscars because I make fun of Oscars commercials. You know, people see that. That's not happening. How many people do you know spend 1 hour a week in VR consistently every week?
Not many. And I
know zero.
People, yeah.
I know zero anybody outside of actually working in a VR company,
right, exactly.
As a human.
Yeah.
So it takes time. This is Internet 91. And here we are in 2017 and we still only buy 30% of our stuff on the internet. And I thought in 1996 when I launched WineLibrary.com that by the year 2000, so many people will buy online. So I've come to learn, this is one good thing about experience. You learn that real innovation takes a long time. You know, the early pioneers of computers are like, there's gonna be a computer in everybody's home by 1984. Yeah, more like 1999. Right?
That's the adoption of it. I mean, it's like you know, autonomous vehicles.
That's exactly right. And it's also consumer, like especially when you go into something that looks like this,
Right.
people are not gonna be so quick to jump on it. I think Google Glass, I think even Snapchat spectacles like are realizing that when you, even the Apple Watch, when you're requiring something to be like attached to people, like and things of that nature, that's hard, that's fashion.
Right.
That's the way we, like every person in this room and every person listening to this radio and everybody watching dresses to communicate.
Wearables.
So, you know.
So, you know, you leveraged e-commerce early on with your dad's wine business,
Yes.
obviously grew it to 50 million.
Yes.
And then you were one of the early YouTube adopters
Yes.
as well. And so you're really great at being on the crest and the forefront of all the new platforms. Take all the existing platforms right now, you're on all of them,
Yes.
Snap, Instagram, all of them.
Yes.
Where, obviously there's different context for each platform.
Yes,
If you had to surmise each of the platforms, you know, as succinct as possible, what would you say their best leverages?
Twitter is the best place to listen and react. So instead of talking, see something, jump in, create conversation, create leverage, create awareness. It's actually, in my opinion, the only true social network. I think the rest are CMSs and push out content. Twitter is the one place where people are going back and forth at scale.
For more engagement.
Correct. Even though some have adopted a good strategy in Facebook and Instagram comments, they are a minority. So that's Twitter. I think Snapchat is a stunningly important platform for 25 and under. I think it was well on its way to becoming the next Facebook, Instagram, but I do think that Instagram's feature changes and Facebook's feature changes that are coming have taken some of the steam out of their growth on the upscale.
What are some of those feature changes that are coming?
Stories, filters, AI, like I believe, and I don't know this for fact, that Facebook's strategy is these are features, let's constantly have them, and to their credit, they've even been faster on the features. I knew about Snapchat's swipe up to go somewhere months in advance, still not out. Instagram's been out for months. But I think Snapchat's very important. I think people are naive. People don't realize that every 17-year-old is still Snapchat, every 18-year-old. So what it did was, you want to get as old as possible like Facebook did. What it did was, it didn't kill Snapchat, it hurt its upper growth. And so that'll be interesting to watch. But I do think Snapchat's an incredible place to storytell. And I've been doubling down on it the last couple of weeks because people have gone away from it and there's still hundreds of millions of people there. So this is again my favorite. Good, yes. Yeah, go to Instagram stories and be held to just one platform. I'll stay over here too. So that's that. I think Facebook is the single most important platform in the world. I think it is the modern day CBS meets New York Times meets, I mean, just I couldn't be more bullish on it.
It's not becoming more antiquated.
No, I do not believe that. And I think the data supports my opinion. And I think that people, writers, pundits, people in the game love to be the first to say this or be like, there's just hundreds, there's billions of people whose attention is on Facebook. And more importantly, as a business, the ads are underpriced. So for me, it is the most important place to not only do video, pictures, and written word. I mean, if I was to start a blog today, I would start it on Facebook. Picture, 31 sentences, next. I mean, why? You'll win there.
Right.
What the hell are you going on WordPress for? I mean, it's eating up eBay.
Yeah.
Like Facebook Marketplace exploding.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a big deal. Cheryl and Mark are real ninjas. Yeah. They really are doing it. So that's that. Instagram is kind of like, to me, the place where I've been spending the most time over the last 3 months. And I want you to, if you're gonna go there, want to remind people, 9 months ago I questioned its relevancy. This is me changing all the time. Snapchat was growing. I knew Facebook was way stronger, younger than people thought. And I was like, okay, so where is Instagram?
Where does it fit?
Where does it fit? They went and made these changes. It ate into a lot of Snapchat's world, and there's a lot of attention on it. It's a very important place. I think for me, Instagram's the place where I probably play the most motivational version of myself. You know, with a minute video and with pictures, I can't go into the 27-minute, like if Instagram allowed like the same length of video, which they may, if you told me tomorrow we wake up and they no longer limit it to 1 minute, I would look at it differently. But my strategy there is quick, fast, and impact. And I think that leads more to innovation than tactics. So very important platform for me. And again, if you're marketing kind of, let's call it 21 to 45, just outrageously important. To me, it's the modern day, it's like the coolest magazine in the world, right? Like whenever a magazine has its 3-year run. Like that's where Instagram is right now. What else do we have? Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Pinterest is really kind of just okay. It's a search. It didn't win on mobile, is where I think they really got hurt. It's still an important platform. I think LinkedIn content's still an important platform in a B2B environment. But the 4 we just mentioned are, YouTube. I would say that YouTube has become very important to me once I realized vlogging was something I could get to. I think that everybody should be really spending more time producing long form video, and I think that Facebook and YouTube are the 2 places. And I look at YouTube as a modern day television cable provider.
And for all the people, there's so many people still uncomfortable with social media.
Yeah.
They don't know how to navigate it. They don't know where they fit in it. They don't want to be exposed. There's vulnerabilities there. What are a couple of tricks that you sort of try to advise people on when they're trying to get comfortable with social media?
Social media is a slang term for the current state of the internet. And the second I do that, they say, oh crap, I need to take this seriously, don't I?
Yeah.
If they agree with me.
Right.
I honestly will tell you that's the number one thing I do. I think people think social media is an afterthought or a sprinkle. And I think it's the main course.
Yeah.
And I think the traditional stuff is the sprinkles. And then I tell them to try everything. Like there's only one way to be successful. Like how do you tell somebody to figure out their favorite physical sport? You have to go swim. You have to go run. You have to go work out with somebody. You have to go play basketball.
Try it all. Yeah.
Like, and don't just, think about everybody who's watching or reading. Think about how many foods you didn't love the first time you had them. Did everybody love sushi the first time they had it? Right? And so it's not only try everything, it's really interesting. It's the same advice I gave in the wine business, which was, how do you get good at wine? You try different kinds of wine. It's always doing. Reading this article isn't gonna make you better at social media. Using it as the inspiration to get deeper is.
Sure. You were a terrible student, and obviously a lot of entrepreneurs are. It's just the school system right now is just, it's not a testament to anything negative to the teachers, but the system is linear.
Yes.
And entrepreneurs don't think that way. So you have 2 children. How do you help to cultivate more of an entrepreneurial spirit and mindset?
I don't.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I will not impose my will on my children. I will extract their will and help support it.
That's great.
It's the truth.
And you're noticing those things now emerge that they're...
Yeah, my daughter is, it's funny, don't forget, I was an immigrant.
Right.
Like we were just trying to make it in America. Like I don't think my children are wealthy and going to private Upper East Side schools. I don't know if I would have in that environment conformed a little bit. Maybe, for example, here's a curveball. If I knew that probably the best reason to go to Harvard or Penn was the people you were gonna meet, I might have actually done it.
Right, the networking. Yeah.
If I knew that my college roommates could have been titans of industry's kids versus Mount Ida College, where I'm just happy most of them aren't in jail, but some of them are, and it's just real. Like, I get no business value out of the kids I went to college from. 0.0. Now, I've got some swag, I got some hip hop culture, I've got some stuff that's worked out for me from them, but if I knew that, maybe I would have saw a different world and maybe my behavior would have been different. And maybe and listen, there are that rare breed that are incredible entrepreneurs and can eat shit and conform and get through the system and get the value out of it. I just didn't know that world existed. But yeah, that's my answer to that question. If my kids want to be artists, I'll help them. If they want to be scholars, super proud. There's 2 things I won't do: impose my will and wrap up my self-esteem in their accomplishments. I think those are 2 flawed parents.
Of the parent.
I've got plenty of my own ego. I don't need to feel good about my kid in chess club.
Yeah. We have a couple of exciting things. You just acquired PureWow.
Yes.
So I want to learn a little bit more about that.
Yep.
And then I want to hear about Planet of the Apps. You're partnering with Gwyneth Paltrow, will.i.am, and Jessica Alba on that. So tell me about those 2 things.
PureWow is a continuation of my dream of building the greatest marketing machine ever. So I created a holding company, Vaynerx. VaynerMedia is over here. The gallery is over here, with PureWow being the first media property. Very blatantly, frankly, I want to build a Condé Nast or Hearst of the modern world. Yeah. And this is the first piece. Now, I'm using those because those are the only holding companies of media that I know, meaning they can be other things. I'd love to buy a Sports Illustrated or, it doesn't have to be a female-centric media company. So that's that. It's not super complicated. And then, and I'm excited about it. And Ryan and Mary Kate, the CEO and the editor-in-chief, are just incredible people and operators. And then on the other side, it was a no-brainer. It's like one of Apple's first original programs. It's around investing in apps and mentoring apps. The other three are very, very famous. So from a brand positioning standpoint, it elevated my brand.
Sure.
I mean, I'm no question people look at me different because of it.
You'll be a nice complementary piece to that.
Yeah, and I think it plays out. I don't know how they're going to edit it, but I definitely brought a different dynamic, and I think I'm good at camera, and so it was a no-brainer for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Gary. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
And you can follow Gary at GaryV.